That was right. BISWAS, Academic Counselor of IGNU. Today's subject is Organizational Theory and Design. It is MMPH 001. It is a third semester paper. Those who are specialized for the HRM specializations, for them, this is the series of HR subject are there. That is the number one first paper for third semesters. So anyway, today we have to discuss about the first. I will give you some overview of the total syllabus. There are 5 blocks. The first block basically is the understanding organization. There are 3 units. First unit is approaches to understanding organization. Unit 2 is your theoretical frameworks. Unit 3 is the organizational effectiveness. And block 2, basics of the organizational structure. And there are 2 units, fundamentals of organizational structure and factor affecting the organizational structure. Block 3, organizational design. There are topology and different type of things are given, and your contemporary organizational design. Block 4 is job design. This is approaches to job design. And unit 9 is emerging trends at work. And block 5 is your internal dynamics. Unit 10, there are 2 units, unit 10 and 11. The role of organizational culture in design and organizational conflict. So now today I have to discuss about the block 1. Within the block 1, there is understanding organization title. And there are 3 units. First unit, within this first unit, that is the approaches to understanding organization. There are meaning of the, we have to try to understand what is the meaning of the organizations and what are the characteristics of the organizations and the systems, different systems, open system, closed system, then different approaches to the organization. And the mathematics say 7S model. That's the first unit. And second unit, there is a theoretical frameworks, that is historical perspectives, pre-classical, classical era, and classical organizations theory. Different theories are there. And your neoclassical approaches, modern theories to be explained. And unit 3 is organizational effectiveness. That is organizational effectiveness, then your determinants, what are the determinants of the organizational effectiveness, evaluating the effectiveness, and how to make organizational effective, and evaluating the branch performance systems. So okay, anyway, first you have to understand what is the organization. What is the definition? It is a group of people who are collected to work for a common goal with collective efforts. Organization works through two concepts there: coordination and the delegation among the group members. So delegation is necessary to allocate group members with equal work accordingly to their capability, and coordination is required to achieve organizational goal with the decisions. So this is the way it is a definition of the organizations. And then organizing is a subject, the larger activity of the managing. When is an organization point of view, but a lot of activities are there. So you have to how to manage all these activities. So it is the process by which the structure of the organizations is created and maintained. That this process, part of the process that includes the determination of the specific activities and their necessary objectives, grouping of the activities, and assigning these to the specified positions or persons which they have to done these things, and the creation of the network of positions, persons for purposes of the planning, motivation, communication, coordination, and control. This part. So in total, we can say there is the things which are the activities to be performed. Is the organizing. What are the characteristics of the organizations? There are so many characteristics there. There are central coordination systems. They are differentiated internally, and your legitimate characteristics established what is achieved, and organization in flexibles. Organization is a part of societal transformations. So these are varieties criteria. They are different way, macro and micro levels. So uh, now we have to see the systems. Organizations are a system of some interacting components. There are so many components, just like our human body, like this. The below framework emphasizes the four major internal components. That is one of the tasks: people, technology, and structure. So that's people, technology, and the structure. This is the four pillars you can see. These four components, along with the organization, inputs and outputs, are key element of the task environment. Uh, the task of the organizations is to mission, purpose, the goal of the existence. The people are the human resources of the organizations. So, what are the peoples are there? They are the human resources, employees. The technology is the wide range of tools, technical knowledge and techniques used to transform the inputs and outputs. What are the ingredients that has to be transformed? So for that, the technique has to be applied. The structure is how work is designed at the micro level, as well as how departments, divisions, and the overall organizations are designed at the macro level. So, with these major internal components of the organizations as a system, this is organizational tasks, environment, such as suppliers, customers, regulation. Once the components are there, apart from that, we have to different tasks are from environmental issues are there. So the environmental means external, you can say that is a suppliers, customers, and what are the regulation, government regulations. So within this encompasses the total organization systems are encompasses. From this diagram, it will be more clear. You see there's a component of the organization system. As we say, that is the four components, major four components, that it has structure, technology, and people. That is basically the things. Then after that, some boundary is there. There is the first boundary you can see where the four components are activities are internally. Then after that, some input side is there. There's the material, capital, human, what other things the inputs in the left hand side, and right hand side your output, product, services, and what else is it? Your environmental. I mean, there's some sort of competitions. Then your some sort of human regulatories, customers, government rule and regulations. That is also a part of this your system. So now we have to see the differentiation and integration part. As you know, there are in the organizations there are some the departmental wise the component is there. There is the individual functions are there, and total will be functions also there. So that there should be some of the that you have to also be managed for all these things. So organizations have some of the divisions, department, like units separated out of the perform specialized activities are also there. So at the same time, in order to maintain unity among the differentiated parts, there's all the parts, and form a complete as a whole, you have to see. So every system has a reciprocal process of the integration. Then you have to see what the way it is functioning. For example, for the human body, there are so many components there. Now, first of all, you see the kidney, then liver, heart. There are major parts there. Their function is there, but overall, it is the integration is there through this brain and other part are also how it is integrated, so that overall you can see the system of the organization, what the way it is. That's why there's some differentiation and integration of all the components, all the activities are associated, and even together you have to see how it has functioned. So in our organization, this integration is typically achieved through the methods such as coordinated level. How it will be achieved? Through these coordinated levels. Different hierarchy are there. So many positions hierarchy are there. And it is a direct by the direct supervisions. And there's some rule will be there, some procedure and policies. So everything are in a vertically and horizontally some integrations appears. Um, Then we have to see some open systems because there are two, any organizations are functioning in a two way. There are some two basic types of systems, open and closed. The closed system is one that is self-contained and isolated from the environment. It is just self-contained, cut off from the other links and other things. So we can say it is a closed system. And the open system which is constantly interact with the environment. Environment is such, in this case, customers and your suppliers and environments, and the regulation, government regulations. So it is the open system. So most of the companies are open system. It is beneficial also, and the real system interact with the environment also. So there is a basic difference between closed systems and the open systems. Now, the characteristics of the open system. What are the characteristics of the open systems? So for that, is there some lot of subsystems will be there. But in the open system, there are subsystems are there. Synergy is there. Then input-output modules will be there. Goal-seeking open systems, entropy, steady state, and feedback. There are in total, you can say it is a open systems. These are all other characteristics. As Kai and Khan were the two authors, they are firstly they declare, I mean they have invented the theories, that theory, based on this theory, they apply on the open systems. So theory organized in a comprehensive way. In 1966, they have first this theory they have applied. The organization as an open system, again, is a part of this. So the organization systems may be expressed in terms of your input output mechanism. In other way, also we can interpret that is the system is input and output mechanisms. Simple way. All systems transform inputs into outputs. So this the system is viewed as a transformation process. There are transformation process will be in the center of the things. In dynamic interactions with its environment, and there is a three basic elements in the input-output models. There is one which is definitely it should be one of the inputs should be there. The resources that are applied to the processing functions. What are the resources? And the processes will be there. Processor or something. Some of the process, the activities and the functions that are performed to transform the resources. What are the input side? That what are the inputs are given to the process or process? Then finally it will come to the output. The product and the services are the come out of the system that you can say output. This diagram is clearly shows what these things. Some of the inputs area is given. There is a input ingredients you can say, but this is the raw materials and your some information data and your so all these things. Then it will coming in there as input. And some of the you see some of the information we are getting from the another boundaries. It's different. If in the open systems, you can get you suppose you have to see the policy, regulation, supplier, customer, what are the market demand, everything are is a part of your inputs. Then finally, now after that is a process. Transformation mechanism is there. Now it has to be processed. Then after this process, outcome will come. And finally, it is a user interface because user has to be utilized. And then finally, it is some feedback system is also feedback mechanism is also there. You see, there's some feedback loop system in the dotted line. There are all the time is the farm line is basically your functioning. One part is there input, simply input, and after that transformation mechanisms, output. And then finally it is going to the arrow is showing the right hand side. So ultimately it is your users. Then based on the feedback of the users, then again it will be coming back to the particular the initial stages in the input steps. So for the future programs. So that way it is some interactions showing how it has interacted with the environment as well as the internal parts. Now different approaches. Approaches of the organizations. The nature of organizations can be better understood by using different metaphors. That is in the Morgan illustrations. Similar type of metaphors. Basically here actually the similar type of things which are almost similar. That is some things like that. So mechanism organizations as a machines we can consider. Organizations as a organisms. Organizations as a brain. Organizations as a cultures. Organizations as a political systems. Psychic prisons, flags, and your transformations. Then your instruments or domination. So all of the characteristics are there. Now, McKinsey's 7S model we have to discuss. I think a very important part is there. And it is for basically the effectiveness, how to calculate the effectiveness and how to decide the effectiveness of a particular firm or company. That model is very effective, is very applicable and it is very good practices. So organization effectiveness stems from the interaction of the several factors. The framework for the organization change graphically shown below. After that, I have to show you some of the graphs over there. Suggests several important ideas. It shows the multiplicity of the factors that influence an organization's ability to change. The diagram is intended to convey the notions of the interconnections of variables. And another thing is interesting thing is there. Basically, the shape of the diagram is significant because to show you that is significant. It has no starting point. It's basically connected in such a way there is no starting point or implied hierarchy. It is not obvious which the 7 factors will be the driving force in the changing a particular organization at a particular point of time. So this model, there are 7 S, means we are now, if we see the diagram, then it will be more clear. Then in the global management consultancy company, that is a McKinsey, is first they have adopted these things. Has taken off, it is a basic tool, that management company, consultancy. So therefore at times it is known as the McKinsey 7S model. How it has come this 7S model? So that is the history behind it. So there are 7 S's in the model, and each of the S is presented as a that is a figure is there and elaborated in table number 4. This is no particular order. There is no particular order you can see. The structure is the S, starting is S, structure, then strategy, system, staff, skills, style, and superordinate goals. So there is 7 S. We are saying. Now, how it is connected? You see here, you can see the McKinsey 7S model. McKinsey means because the name has come because of this, the global consultancy company, as we show earlier. That's your global management consultancy, McKinsey. So his name, that company name has come, so that's why McKinsey 7S model. So strategy, structure, systems, everywhere you see it is interconnected to everywhere. So there is no starting points. So information can be exchanged to everywhere. You see a particular in the strategy there are 5 connections are there. In the structure you can see there are also 5 connected. System, if you see the system, that component, again there are 5 components. So that means it is all a cross connected in every time. So communications, bipolar communications everywhere. So in center it is a super ordinate whole service. Now some theoretical frameworks we have to discuss. What are the frameworks are there? And before that, we have to go for a little bit behind the history. I mean, behind the business situation, how it has come. That different historical background we have to see. A lot of theories has come regarding your understanding of the organizations. So that theory you should know. So it has now I have to given some of the small clips, some of the things which are really relevant to these things. So organizational theories can be broadly classified as a pre-classical era, then classical theory, and neo-classical theory. It means you can say pre, present, and the future theories you can see it, which are likely to be, and the modern theories also. So pre-classical era, basically that time the classical organizations theory emerged can be dated back to 2009 and BC, see the long back. As a concept, it was reflected in the way the Egyptian used to set up. Basically, the Egyptian they have to set up, build and manage the pyramids. This is some written there, Kitana 2016. The conceptual models built around this time gave rise to various theories and they revolved around the organization. So then after that, Robert Owens, 1771 to 1858, was one of the eminent contributors who worked together towards the managing human resources, how to manage the human resources, the employees, the labor, workers, how to manage these things. So thus after the evaluations of the conditions at the workplace and towards 18 to 17 when introduced 8 hours day, 8 hours labor or 8 hours recreations and 8 hours complete rest. Because you see there are 24 hours, so 24 hours are distributed and that philosophy, that idea are developed that time. Otherwise, in the previously what happened, the worker, there is no time limits. 12 hours, 16 hours, they are working hard and that way the pay package is also not good. So now he has observed the system should be there. So that's why he has in the workplace he has seen. So then he has introduced that is your 8 hours day, 8 hours labor time, and 8 hours recreation time, and 8 hours your complete. So one came up with some idea to manage the employees and consider them for decisions. Therefore, Owen is called the father of the personal management. So Owen, we can say the Robert is the father of the personal management. Then another authorized there is Adam Smith, 1723 to 1790. That means this duration he was leave. At the time 1723 and up. So popularly known as the father of modern economics. As the modern economics was the first to emphasize the need for specializations as essential factor for the productivity. So when in the factory or somewhere the production is going on, so he realized that some skill is required, some specialization is also required. So Adam Smith, so because he has introduced the things, that's why we are calling the father of modern economics. So here just you have to remember the name and what the activity he has done, what he has discovered, or what are the he has introduced, what are the themes was there. So that part you have to remember, because this is all a part of your historical processes and pre-classical era. Right now we are discussing about the pre-classical era. Then historical perspectives are there. Then Charles Babbage is come, a professor of the mathematics. He is the mathematics at Cambridge University. Observed that most of the organizations relied on assumptions and conjectures and the suggesting when it comes decision making. So any time in the decision making process, always they are taking the assumptions. just let it be, say like this. So there is a no things are mathematically or scientifically, they have nobody has decided. Decision was not taken. Only based on the assumption or past experience, everybody agrees. So Charles Babbage has emphasized the importance of the logic, science, and principles. So famously known as, that's why his name is the father of modern computing persons. So he relied on the specialization of the work and profit sharing in the mechanisms for better productivity. So the industrial revolutions, after that, the also several changes when it came in the changes in the social and technological. Now, classical organization theory. Now, before that, so far, to these slides, we have discussed about the pre-classical era. Now, we are entering in the classical organization theory. The classical theory was leading the theory invented in the 1930s, but its structure and design are equivalent today. Uh, Even though it is started from 1930, but still it is exist. That is the meaning to say. The rise in the demand for the machines and the productions lead to coordinated work method. The logic behind the theory was that to build the firm's efficiency. Ultimate aim the logic is to build the efficiency. So it is essential to work towards the efficiency of all the workers. And scholars usually focus on the top level efficiency in the organization. The classical organizational theory includes three school of thoughts. So I have highlighted the three thoughts, that is scientific management, bureaucratic management, and administrative management. Uh, then it is a fundamental pillars of the classical organization theory. That the main thing is the organization is built of the four foundational solid pillars. You can say the division of the work, one pillar, scalar and functional process, another pillar, and then structure. This is one of the pillar, and span of the control. How area, there is span of the control, how much area is control goes. So this is the fourth pillar. Division of work basically it implies that the work process should be separated into distinct tasks that they are taken by the expert individuals. So there is no repetition in the work performed. So it should be specific and the individual skill set in utilized effectively. So this is a concept of Adam Smith. He has given that concept for division of work. Scalar and functional process. It is essential to maintain a clear communication channel known as the scalar principles, that is chain of the command to establish the authority and the command. Now, third is your structure. This is also important. Implementation of the organizational goal and objectives needs to be a certain level of specification in which the functions occur. Two basic structure ensure how the relationship and the maintain. Basically, I know everybody there is some levels or hierarchy. So structure basically is it may be horizontal structure, maybe vertical, maybe plane, maybe flat type, different so many types of structures maybe depending on the company to company, organization to organizations, that structure may change or may modify. So organizational effectiveness is determined by how efficiently the functions will be performed according to the set structures. What are the set structure based on this? How it is performed. Span of the control. Span of the primary purpose of the having a span of the control is to fix the number of the subordinates managed by one supervisor. So for particular one supervisor, how many employee or subordinates should be there? That is a span of business. It may be 20, it may be 30. So control with many subordinates, because the many subordinates they are controlling under one manager is called the operative span. So when the control by the subordinates under the one manager, so it is we can see the operative span. A narrow span of the control implies having a few subordinates under the manager. This is called the executive span. Basically, in the top level, there are few managers they are controlling. But manager may be controlling there and supervisor may be controlling more. So that is the way the span you can see it. Operative span, they are operating directly into intervals. Front line and managers. They are team is very big. So that is a So this is the way it is defined. So executive span, especially in the middle management levels. So this is here some of the diagrams or pictures, demands of the bureaucratic organizations, the span of the control, and the wide span of the control, where the number of narrow span, some few employees are there, like this. Now, theoretical frameworks, different school of thoughts, that the scientific management approach is there. That is a Taylor has decided. I know the father of the scientific management movement. It was successfully moved. And basically, we can say he has different books also he has published. There is SOP management. He has written books also. And he's a principal of the scientific management. He has described everything. And it is a worldwide very good things. Yes, right. Then Taylor used to famous time of the work study plan and manage work of the organizations, how it will be there accordingly, lot of systematically has analysis. Then yes, promote some of the industrial engineering also in management to achieve the simplification and the efficiency, how it should be simplified, and some procedures should be there, that everything he has highlighted. And he also suggested that some of the traditional boss culture should not be, because the worker are human, they are an asset of the company. That sense is he has given. So some of the characteristics of the scientific management also given below. He has suggested a lot of things. So characteristics of the scientific realization should be, or objective should be there, method, define aim, approach systems, systematics, define plan, and discard the whole methods, cut down on wastages, emphasize, then techniques, change in attitudes, set of rules, specializations, scientific selections of the personnel, everything is a part of the characteristics of the scientific management. Then criticisms also there. The criticisms of the classical theory, suffer from some limitations, because the classical theory there are some limitations are there. Disadvantages also there. Some of the human nature, nature is multifaceted. Sometimes not at part the desired level you cannot get it. So primary drawback of the classical theory is that it always assume human beings as a part of the huge machines, thus neglecting the need of the related to the because human maintaining the human natures are difficult, because you cannot get the desired value which you really set it things. So a lot of other issues are there. Another drawback was the increasing the monetary incentives could only increase the productivity, because if you not pay package or your welfare or that relation, industrial relations, higher package is not good, it may be a creative problem. So motivational part is also there financially. So there are theory emphasizes the formal structures and the relationships, and the consider the organization fixed and rigid. That part of your drawbacks, I mean the criticism part. Now this theory did not emphasize the decision-making process. Environmental part is also there, and it allows the capital incentive economics also. Classical theory is primarily derived from the observation rather than the analysis. Because classical theory, that most of the times is based on the observation, experience and observations. And so that time analysis, logic, facts was not there. That time mechanism was not there. So that's it. So it has found the mechanistic assumptions, specializations, scientific selections, and the persons. Neoclassical approach. That is a very new thing. So neoclassical approach is bifurcated into two schools. There are two schools thoughts are there. One is the human relations school, and another is the behavioral school. Human relations school focused on how the relationship operated within the groups. When the human being is within the group, what the way is behave, and how it is integrated with the other groups. That relationship is one of the part. So on the other hand, behavioral relation school focused on the way individually is operated, what type of behavior that to observe. So it implies that the workers work in a system that influences their behavioral actions. So there are two things. When the persons are working in the group, what the way is living, and individually what is living. Sometimes it is different. It may not be the same. So that is that approach. The behavioral science theory, good behavior and interpersonal relations, I think significantly influence the human beings. So then there Maslow, there are so many motivational models are also come up according that time. Then your Maslow's and Magyars, then so many motivators are coming up. They have contributed a lot, and then in the for development and management of. So the workers operate in a given context and cannot be treated as isolations. So workers are a part of the group and should be seen as a cohort. So when cohesiveness, how to develop the cohesiveness cooperative way, they can work. That modules are that motivation parts are there. That some sort of theories, lot of theories are come. These are all latest things. Now we are coming third part, classical era. Now we are in the basic stages now. So fundamental principles of the neuroclassical approaches are individuals, any human being continue to interact with the social context. Then there are a group, the work group is there. Participative management is also there. Participate in the encourage the people. They can in the decision making process. They are also participating. The feeling, some sort of feeling of belongingness they should have. So this is also one of the just management. Unity of the so it's segregation of the different departments. That also is part of your fundamental principles. Then organizational structure, what are the benefits? This is one of the communication benefits. This is the pattern to accept the things. And management can quickly establish how the roles and build up coordination structures can help the better arrangement and clarity of the control and decision making responsibility. So this is all are benefits for the new system. There is a neuroclassical method. Modern theory. Now the modern organizational theory is your culminations of the classical models, social and behavioral sciences. The main essence of the bringing modern theories into action considering the whole organization is total. So that case, the Siemens, Martin Siemens organizations and they have modern organization theory is there. So it is crucial to study the different systems. So after this study, you have to see the introduction of the employees is must. Communication and the gel of the work towards the goals and the objectives play an essential role is fulfilling the organizational interest for the long term. So this is the system approaches are also important. The subsystems and the individuals have subsystem systems. Thus, the organization is a sum of parts, your system process. There are three essential elements. One is the components part, including the individuals, the name of the employees, and the formal informations. That is the component level part, and the role of the responsibility and specified what are the things environment consists. As you know, the principles there's a political, economic, social, technological, legal, and your environmental. That's the short form factor in which the employees work and they complete their role responsibilities. Then your linking process, basically the correlations. I have highlighted on both some of the things that is the linking process. There are correlations between the different subparts of the organizations, interactions between the independent communications, another tools. So the balance and your relation analysis is if you are communicating rightly, then your relationship will be also improved. Then decision making is also required. So how individual decisions are integrated in the organizational process. So that has to be also noticed how the way they are taking the goals of the organizations. It may differ according to the missions of the missions, statement of the organizations. Company to company it will be different. Another, the socio-technical approach. The approach is based on the fact that any organizations operates on people and the environmental and technology. Then the contingency or situational approach. Suppose that some situation has come to contingency. That time the resources you should have. Some resources, contingency resources are utilized when they are in the turbulence in the environment. It implies that considering the economical, environmental, and legal changes in the social context, different guidelines are required suited for this. So, universal set of guidelines does not apply to any dynamic environment. So, contingency, or that's why it is a sometimes situational approach. For example, the COVID time, the Corona time, our Indian government has taken a lot of approaches, a lot of contingency plans, one by one lockdown, or other things they have taken strategically. So this is all other contingency. If the lockdown, people will say how the food will be there, how to earn these things, that allow the resources are there or not. So everything are should be parallelly think about it. So economically also you have to see, environmental also see, protection, and what are the legal, everything are is a part of your contingency and situational approaches. So some of the assumptions are also there. The organizations and the rational institutions whose primary aim is to implement the establishment of objectives, rational organizational behavior, and your well-defined rules. So that is the control. One of the coordinations keep maintaining the organizational reality. Then entrepreneurs organizations are this is a small, informal, and maybe the allocation role frequently strong leadership from a single chief executives. So one man can do these things, particular organizations. So this type of structure is there. So machine organizations are excellent at the repetitive tasks. So this is one of the area organizations. Diversified organizations means the create a central administrative function to serve a range of operating units. There are a lot of units are there. It is a diversified and a more or less autonomous. The degree of autonomy seems to vary in the cycles with the current process creating a high degree of centralizations. Then your professional organizations. So it might also be called the knowledge organizations. Professional organizations mean there are knowledge, talent is there. So know-how, lot of know-how are there. And you can say there is a knowledge management organizations. There are skills, workforce are deliver the fairly standard services. So, innovative organizations, there is a flexible, informal, and multidisciplinary and as a increasing, succeeding part. And they can also compete for the future environment or future market. Machinery organizations have clear missions, they have some missions there, and there are some strategic choices are there for the NGO and other, some of the organizations are there. And machinery is also used to there. There is some focus for education purposes, or maybe the striker and the poor categories like this. So they have some missions there, and they are fulfilling some strategies. So now what the organizational effectiveness we have to see how it measures how successful organizations are reaching their goals. The effective organizations run smoothly and functional well. According to the Merriam and Webster, effectiveness is the power. Actually, effectiveness, so many definitions are there. Effectiveness of the organization depend on the many factors. For example, mission, goals, internal efficiency, positionings, many other factors. So effectiveness has no one definition. It depends on the organization context. What type of organizations there is, type of nature of work, it depends. So we can define the organization's effectiveness at the degree to which an organization achieves the goals in two sectors. How much he has set the goals and how much now has been achieved. So that part we can say the effectiveness. Efficient is there different. Now here actually something I've highlighted the board here, the effectiveness and the efficient. There are two things, totally different. Organizations are capable of what they seek to achieve or may refer them as being efficient organizations. But effectiveness is totally different. It's a total organization's capacity. The effectiveness of an organization depends on many factors. For example, mission and goals, what are the goals of set, internal efficiency, positioning efficiency. So many other factors are involved in the effectiveness of the organizations. But effectiveness as no one definition in the depends in the organization. Now models. So many some models are there. The models are with reference to the organizational effectiveness or how to improve the effectiveness of the organizations. There are so many models out there. One is the goal model means accomplishes the goal. Suppose you are finishing the goal, that means target is only goal. Internal process models. Suppose internally you have to satisfy some of the things. Internal, that is internal process. Resource-based models because you are controlling your resource very carefully and you're developing your resources, maybe human resources. So that is your the model. It means obtaining the resources needed and high performance because you are recruiting some of the people and you are develop them in a certain way, talented, skill development. So all these are different models. Strategic contingency models means the satisfying the strategic consistency and hold it, and so that it should be a very competitive advantage there. So that is the strategic consistency. Then stockholder models are there. So cause your customer, your employee is happy, your share market is improving, your total earning revenue is be more. So that is one of the models. Competing values model. That means the presence of this your simultaneously opposites. This model is based on the Cameron and the some framework are there. This, for example, organization wants to satisfy its customer and at the same time wants to make profit. So and also taking care of the employees, innovations and initiatives. So these models are measured the effectiveness based on the reconciliations of these competing values. So all together they are going parallel. Everything in part they are saying customer satisfaction also they are saying employees they are taking care also. As a part, as a parallel, they are as a team they are everything. So that is the competing values model. Abundance model is there. Abundance that means the flourishing of the virtuousness. This model proposes the effectiveness depends on the realizing highlights potential of the human system organizations. So how much potential they have, that you have to explore it and you have to flourish in these things. So this is the one other model. Now one of the structure is given here, that is your flexibility human relations model, and how it has this is the open systems model are there, and some of the internal focus is there, stability and external focus, and the relationships are here. The some of the objectives is there. So their total stability and control. That should be actually any how to measure the effectiveness of the company. So there is there are so many aspects, there are so many factors are there. Not only one thing you have to consider. You have to consider everything. So then only you can decide as a stable company. How to stable it? Basically, organizations want all are dynamic nature, but try to be stable and control properly to achieve the greater effectiveness. So these are some of the measurements diagrams how to measure these things. Now Likert, there are some of the methods are there how to measure the things. The Likert measures are there. Three variables are there. There's the casual, interventions, and casual variables are those factors which are influencing the course of development. And then your intervening variables are there. There is those factors which represent the internal state of the organizations. So for the leadership purposes, then your end result variables are there reflecting the results and in the organization's output could be measured in the terms of production, sale, net profit. There's the end result. I think basically the output. Result in the case of the output. Here some of the argumentaries of that, because really there are how to evaluate that. The evaluation part can be improved. So because you see, until and unless we are not evaluating, so effectiveness, how to judge it? The question will be there. So many things. So how to evaluation in your organization? There are so many questions are there. If you answer these questions correctly and if you modify it, definitely it will be towards the achievement. I mean, the effectiveness will be increased. So that is what domain of the activity should be focused on the evaluations. Then whose perspectives of your consistencies, your point to be things. Then what level of analysis are there? Then so many questions are there. I mean, based on this, you can evaluation of the effectiveness. People practice, then your some workforce capacities, key performance drivers, all are the important pointer to become a important organizations. Then so many other things, efficient processes are there, then the product services output, organizational objectives, strategies to improve your organizational effectiveness, how to make this company more effective. So basically focus on your education part and making the human resources, and there are two aspects, human resource and the education. That is a must for organizational effectiveness. If you consider these two things, definitely it will be improved. So keep customers in the mind and their quality services, use the technology, so everything as a part of your things. So anyway, thank you very much. I think now we have today covered of block 1, and next we have to see for the block 2 only. Okay, thank you very much.